everyone. Today we're diving into the world of Joseph Edgar, better known as Joe, a serial entrepreneur who's always one step ahead of the game. Once the driving force behind Tenant Cloud, where he transformed property management with cutting edge technology, Joe's now steering the ship at Loca.us. His latest venture is all about empowering local businesses to connect with customers through cash based rewards, an idea as bold as it is brilliant. From snapping up his first rental property as a teen to shaping clean energy initiatives with Petros partners and even a stint in the Texas governor's office, Joe's journey is a wild ride of vision and hustle. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's unpack his story. Welcome to the podcast, Joe. I'm wondering if you can tell us more about Loca.
Yeah. Loca is a unique opportunity for small local businesses to connect with local customers. So, the problem that arose sort of during the technological age is that our cell phones made us very connected, but they made the world around us farther away. And what I mean by that is social media and you're able to see, when a kid does a crazy dance in Africa to, when a jet takes off in China, and we can see those in an instant from them happening. But the local, Joe Burger shop around the corner is just trying to get our attention and we're not available. And what used to be most marketing was all local, and you'd have a guy holding a sign, you'd have radio, you'd have newspaper. All of
Mhm.
that marketing and advertisement was all local. It was the basis of all marketing, and so big companies had to go local to get the word out. And digital made it where it's the opposite. So now these small local companies have to fight to go onto platforms that are made for large big corporates. So just in the city of Austin,
Mhm.
there's 200 multinational corporations. They have thousands of locations and they have billions behind their marketing budgets. In that same geography, there's 38,000 small local businesses. So
Oh my
with
gosh.
38,000, it's like crabs in a bucket fighting to try to get our attention. And,
Mhm.
if you ask anyone, everybody's going to say, yeah, I want to support local. But when it actually comes down to it, it's hard because we don't know what to expect. We don't know where to find them. And a lot of people think it's expensive. So Loca brings that gap together. It gives local small businesses an app. And so you can make purchases, you can find them, and there's all cash rewards. And so as a consumer, you have this great tool where you can do it's like Pokemon Go for small business. You can check them out. You get cash rewards. You don't have to worry about any weird, confusing points and all the confusion that goes in this whole weird point system. Everyone who has a loyalty rewards app,
Mhm.
I ask him to explain it to me, and like I have no idea. It's so weird. Like there's this weird points, and you got to carry the two and divide by your birth date and something like that. You can
Yeah.
never use them. And so making it all cash with all local businesses makes it very easy for you as a consumer. So you can get on, find all local businesses, and every local business is doing something like, they may have live music. They could have
Mhm.
trivia night. They have speed dating night. So they'll hold all these events, but they have to promote them and pay to
Right.
market those as well. And so you can find all of it on Loca. And so
Okay.
it's real easy to, find a cash reward deal. You can go and check them out. Real easy to upload your receipt. You don't have to talk to anyone. Get the cash rewards right to your app. And then you can find things that are, happening. We have what are called challenges that are coming out soon. A lot of local businesses and restaurants will put together these challenges like who can eat a 12-ounce steak in an hour, something like that. And so you can find
Nice.
these challenges all over the place. We're currently in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Portland, and Eugene. And so we're slowly expanding to more
Okay.
cities. But yeah, we encourage everybody, really check out, Loca. It's a way to find your local businesses all around you. And if you're a local business, it's a great way to find customers. And it's very affordable for them. So it really empowers the local community around you and
Mhm.
helps those local businesses thrive. And you can find it. It's loca.us, Loca, Loca. We like to say we're crazy for local business. So loca.us is the website you can find out more.
Nice. Are you hoping to expand across the United States at some point?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're
Yeah.
going city by city right now. It just because you have to basically put together the community.
Mhm.
And so we have more businesses on Loca than we may say in our cities, just
Okay.
because, there's, I saw there we have a couple in Denver, but there's not enough to really, promote Denver yet.
Mhm.
So first thing we have to do is go and find lots of local businesses, sign them up, and then after that we promote it to, general consumers. And so we're slowly going out to more cities. I think our where we have a lot of users but fewer cities, which is an indication of where we're going next, is
Yeah.
LA, San Francisco, and Denver. So those are our next three cities.
Okay.
But we'll still continue to expand inside Texas. Inside the app, you can refer a business. So it's a great other way to earn
Okay.
cash rewards. So if you know of a local business that you like, got to get them on here,
Mhm.
refer them. So if the business is on Loca, you can find it anywhere. It doesn't just have to be in those cities. But yeah, we see it as expanding across the entire U.S., including every country, small town.
Yeah.
And we have some features coming where you can have your avatar and your profile. And in your profile, you can create lists. So as you travel
Okay.
around, you can create your own list of what you think the best things to do. I'm in Krakow,
Nice.
Poland right now. So
Mhm.
imagine it being global and me able to say, I'm going to go and check out all my favorite breakfast spots. I'm going to put them on here. And so I have my 5 favorite breakfast spots, and anybody can go and find that, almost like a Spotify. You can find my lists, and you can easily check out, my favorite, breakfast spots. And what else is great about
Yeah.
Loca is on it, you can create ads. And these ads are nothing more than experiences. We do it already on social media,
Mhm.
but if you do it on Loca, they'll pay you per local view. So another way to earn cash
Okay.
rewards. Everyone's a creator. And so as I create content, I'm able to share it on my lists, and you can go and actually see my visual experience as I went around to all these different local businesses. And so yeah, we see it
Okay.
being not just in the US. We hope to really take it around the world.
And and is this not accessible to like chains, corporations, like are you going to see Applebee's on it?
Great question. No. So
Good.
unfortunately, we are limiting just the local businesses. So you're not going to see any of the
Yeah.
Starbucks. Starbucks, McDonald's, and Chipotle are great examples of corporations
Mhm.
that have used a loyalty rewards app, and it's now one of their top. Like Starbucks says, the loyalty app drives 65% of their revenue. And that's what's out
Okay.
of reach for these local small businesses. And so
Yeah.
they've got their own tools. Everybody wants it. But when we go to Austin, we don't want 38,000 apps. So
Right.
that's a problem for consumers. So to
Yeah.
have one all cash rewards is really the empowerment for the local business. So no, we're avoiding all corporates. They're not on. And we know
Yeah.
some of the chains are locally owned, but it's you got to have a local brand. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I when we travel, I if you're looking for a restaurant and you want like we were in New Orleans, I don't want to go where all the tourists
mm,
go. I want the podunk restaurants that no one goes to, the real authentic stuff.
you want to try some
And
Louisiana grits?
yeah, yeah, and we did end up finding some through word of mouth. I'm great at talking to anyone I find on the street, you know. So we did find some, but if you were to look online, they're going to show you all of,
Denny's.
yeah, it's
McDonald's
that's not what I'm
breakfast,
looking for.
exactly. That's digital marketing. That's exactly right. So yeah, that's the challenge. So and what's sad is I go around. We used to do in Texas. We take these little day trips
Mhm.
and we go and explore places. The local breakfast joint is unfortunately very scarce now. It's
Mhm.
soon to be extinct, and that's what was really a heartbreaker for me is, I love walking into a little restaurant where the table's all wobbly, the
Yeah.
chairs are all mismatched, every coffee mug is like half broken, if not like, glued together.
Yeah.
It makes the authentic experience. If you walk
Yeah.
into a Denny's or a Starbucks, you're guaranteed the exact same experience every time. You couldn't
Right.
imagine, something being more boring. And
Right.
so, you know, y- what local brings us is a unique experience for every single time we go.
Mhm.
And really just being able to embrace that and go after that is really the important part. And it's all the way down to food. Like,
Yeah.
do you want the exact same thing you eat everywhere you travel? As I
Right.
go through Europe, I do not want to eat a cheeseburger.
Right. That yes. I I got upset one time in New Orleans. My husband and brother-in-law wanted a cheeseburger. I'm like, that's not what we're here for.
Exactly. It's part of
So,
the experience. You want to try new food. You want to see what's local.
yeah,
So yes.
yeah,
So go to New Orleans and not try the grits. I think, you know.
yeah. You got to. So I live in Denver, Iowa, and it's so we call ourselves the Mile Wide City.
All right.
And so we have some restaurants, a coffee shop. We have some all small businesses, and the owner of the coffee shop, she never knows what I'm going to get because I have to try something different every time,
So you don't have a
And but
usual. Nice.
yeah, but luckily she's always creating different drinks, so I'll never have to just get the same thing unless I want
Ah,
to.
gotcha.
So
Well, she probably
I've
sees you, gets excited when you come in because then she's like, "Oh, I the
what
usual
do I do?
is I can create something new for her. So let's try this.
Yeah,
Let's see if I can throw her off on this one." So that's big.
yeah. Right. Yeah, the only problem is like, because I was a bartender here and I knew what everyone was drinking, but then the ones that would throw me off, it's like, well, you might have to wait a little bit because I'm not just gonna whip around and grab two Bush and a Bud and set them in front of
Right.
these three. But obviously I'd still provide excellent service. But
Of course, of course, of
but
course.
I think that this app would be great for small towns. We have our own Facebook page that's supposed to be for local businesses in the Cedar Valley where I live. And once in a while, the non locals will get on there and it's just like, get out of here. We
Right.
know what your menu is. It's all over TV. I don't care,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, and it is tough because as locals, you're like, we just want to know what's a local thing. So we create these little Facebook pages or even text WhatsApp pages, and there's following, but it's hard because those who aren't local are also the ones trying to explore that
yes.
local community and they're trying to get a whole new flavor. And it's hard as we travel around, like how do we hear from locals about
Hmm.
local experiences? And that's everything from music, to food, to where you go, places to hike, places to walk, experiences, just to have. Like in Austin, I'm sure you went to the Bats. We have the
Absolutely.
largest urban bat colony in at least the US, maybe the world.
Hmm.
I don't know. But, there's unique things that you can only experience and you want to hear about them. Now,
Hmm.
Austin's known that's the bats are, world known around the world, but
Yeah.
there's in every small community, there's just, tiny, tiny little things, maybe a little cave to drop into. So getting a flavor for, what there is local without being filtered through large corporate commercials is really something that is
Yeah.
needed and what Loca's trying to do.
So it includes like hiking trails, basically everything
So
that you could do.
soon we're gonna have it's all on what we can build. So it's
Hmm.
about 8 months away, but we're gonna have what are called things to do. And things to
Nice.
do is anyone who's on there can create one and they just add in, if they want to add a business to it, but it's almost like if you pull from Google and you take a photo and it follows you around, you go to a town and then it shows you like a little map of all the things you did. It's
Hmm.
really like that. You're putting together what you thought a great day was there. And you
Yeah.
can make it a half a day, a whole day, whatever you want. You can really create them. And it's on your profile and your list, and anybody can see them. And so you're just giving a flavor for what is local from your perspective. And so it can be from locals or it can be from someone traveling through and, trying and saying, oh,
Yeah.
here's what I found that was really interesting. I did breakfast here. Afterwards, we walked down to this cathedral. You have to go in the cathedral because the preacher does some amazing sermon and you'll see the chapel or something. And then after that, there's a little
Yeah.
photo museum, right? So you can add in all the fun stuff you found,
Nice.
interesting or something to do. So
Yeah. So it's kind of like a local travel blog almost.
yeah,
With
I mean, you want it to be unique, but
hmm.
a video blog almost is
Okay.
more of what it's like because you're going to
Yeah.
be seeing actual pictures and video of what they're doing. So
Yeah.
TripAdvisor tries to do something like this, but if you go to a TripAdvisor, you go to a Google, you're going to get the top 10 things to
Hmm.
do in the city, which is like every tourist is doing this. That's not
Yep.
actually what I'm trying to do. And
Yeah.
so you want the real local stuff. And that's,
Yeah.
going to be
Well,
done on
this.
a much smaller local level.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that idea. Because when I go on vacation, that's what I want to do. And then yeah, it's so easy to look on TripAdvisor, but then it's like, okay, no, I need to get on all these like local Facebook pages and see what everyone's talking about there. But if you have it all in an app, that would be save so much time.
That's the idea. So that TripAdvisor will give you a top 10 things to do, but there's a million things that people end up actually doing on the
Hmm.
local level. So they're
Yeah.
not going to tell you about go to Frank's bar 6 o'clock at 7. And there's this guy, Ernie, who plays amazing guitar.
Yeah.
That's not going to be on there. But those are the things that actually make our experience fun as we travel around.
Nice. I will definitely be downloading this before I go to Austin
Nah,
and have my brother download it as well so he can kind of check
yeah,
stuff
it's
out
all
since he's
over. So I think we even have some out
yeah,
in Dripping Springs. We have a few local business there.
perfect.
So
Nice. So have you traveled your whole life?
Um, I grew up in Southern Oregon. I'm a reservation boy.
Uh-huh.
Um, but my brother ended up serving a mission in Brazil. So when I was 17 is the first time I left the country,
Uh-huh.
and we started a little business in Brazil. So since then I have not stopped traveling.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't say my whole life, but most of my later life I have definitely spanned the globe.
Is that what is that part of what inspired you to make the app?
Um I mean, I would say it's definitely part of who I am, and I was
Hmm.
inspired to make the app. But I think seeing my local businesses go out of business is really what inspired me to make the app. Is we'd go around to find these breakfast joints, and as we traveled Texas, and as every town we'd go and stay at, we'd want to check out all the local stuff.
Yeah.
And as we did that, we noticed that breakfast joints were extinct. You
Yeah.
cannot find a local breakfast joint. It's very, very hard. The big chains have come in. I don't want
Hmm.
a Cracker Barrel. I know what the experience is.
Yeah.
And, those pop up in these little, smaller areas. And, you'll see a McDonald's, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
I'm looking for all those unique things. And so
Hmm.
as those were drying up, it was becoming ever so apparent that these small businesses that used to do things like, have a coupon or have an event, and that was the marketing.
Yeah.
That's dried up, and now they have to do that plus pay to promote it, and
Hmm.
it's become so expensive for a small local business. And most small local businesses, the marketing person is also the owner, is also the chef, is
Yes.
also the waiter, the
Yeah.
waitress. They're the ones doing everything. And so
Yeah.
finding something that helps them, like, cut through it, they don't have to do any work. It runs itself and it helps engage customers is
Hmm.
really what was more inspiring to say, I got to help this. I know so many small local business. When I was a kid, I grew up in a large family of 13, and so, as one of the ways to make money, we would take towards the end of summer, we'd go and work in what was called the Tule Lake County Fair, and we'd
Okay.
sell doughboys, and some people call them elephant ears. I think fry bread. I don't. There's a
Oh,
million names for these things.
yeah.
As I go, scones, and I think every part of the world I go, or part of the country I go, they're called something different, but it's the same thing. It's a
Okay.
fry bread. You fry it. It's not the healthiest thing for you by any means.
Yeah.
you throw cinnamon and sugar on it, and
Okay.
and there you go. Some places will make it into a taco. Some places will do jam. Some places do powder sugar, but that's really what it is. And we
Okay.
would sell that as a family to try to earn money. And they grew up. Both my parents kind of ran small businesses, and so I definitely relate with most of the small businesses out there. Most
Hmm.
of them are family run, just because it's hard to make a break. And especially right now, as prices are coming, higher,
Yeah.
local businesses just fill the squeeze. And we as consumers, we're like, oh man, we're feeling it, the squeeze as well. And
Yeah.
so small businesses are, don't have the same bandwidth and ability to maintain price control as the big corporates.
Hmm.
So they're like, well, we either go under or we have to raise prices. So they raise prices, but then the consumer is like, oh, it's too expensive. I'm not shopping anymore. And so those two pressures hurt. And that's
Yeah.
where, if they can cut out their marketing expense and just go directly to you, it actually lowers the price of the small business, and it gives you as the consumer a great cash reward, which lowers the
Mhm.
price to go to them. And so that's the idea: is get corporate out of there. Stop sending these large marketing firms a bunch of money that doesn't stay in our community, and get them out. So
Yeah.
that was more the inspiration. But I've spent lots of time traveling. So you know,
Mhm.
Africa, I spent a couple of years in Australia, and now for the last 10 years, I've been, gotten to know Ukraine quite a bit. And so,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
S So what are you said you're in Poland? In
yeah, today. Yep.
What are you doing there right now?
Part of our team with Loca is here in Krakow, and part of
Okay.
it's in Ukraine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll spend a little time here, and then I will train across the border into probably head towards Kiev, which
Okay.
is being hit by crazy rockets right now.
Yes, I thought this was gonna be over by now. Like, why is
Serious.
this? Oh, there's been a lot of like, oh, we're real close. We're real close to solving it. And what is the latest update now? I have not even seen
There is
really
no
any
update.
talk about
There
it.
is, President Trump has stepped back and basically said, well, like I said, I could solve this in 24 hours. I can't. I'm not going to do anything. I don't know what it is. He seems to have a crush on,
Putin.
the terrorist Putin. And I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me, but there's something weird. I don't know what they got on him, but they got something. But he seems to not put any pressure on Putin. He's kind of just backed out of it and said, Europe
Hmm.
will supply you all the weapons you want, but we're kind of going to get out of it now.
Yeah,
And, Russia presses on. They don't really move anywhere. So it makes no sense. There's no logic for any of this.
yeah.
So,
I, I was looking for an update a while back because I'm like, I thought something was happening soon, and then I just used Grok to give me like, are they still striking each other? And it's like, oh yeah, it's just never even stopped.
oh, yeah.
Really? I
On
mean, they're supposed
average,
to be
no,
in a
no. Over the last 3.5 years, since this time, 2023,
okay.
Russia has sent on average 70 projectiles into Ukraine a night.
Oh
Now, more
wow.
recently, it was almost 600 in one night, and most of them were pointed to Kiev. But, they've run out of most of their own weapons. And so now they
Hmm.
buy like the Shahid drone, which
Hmm.
is they have one that's like a plane, and they have one that's rockets. And they're just these drones that fly in very low. You see them and hear them right above you, and they're going after something. Most of the time, their targets are civilian infrastructure. But when you're shooting over civilian infrastructure and you're sending 70 a night, there's going to be things that
Yeah.
happen constantly. And so they hit apartment buildings, they hit homes, they hit residential communities constantly. And so, yeah, on average, 70 a night, and some, nights way more. And so it's really terrorism
Yeah.
going on all over the country.
Yeah.
And it happens so much that most of the time it doesn't make news anymore just because it's nightly.
Yeah. That makes
So,
sense. I mean, that's sad that it
very,
is like
yeah.
that, but so, I know Trump is pressuring people to not buy Russian oil to tank their economy. I don't know if that has really helped or happened. It's again, it's there's hardly anything in the news about it now.
All right.
And
There's ways they can increase sanctions. It cracks me up because it's like,
mhm,
oh, well, we're announcing more sanctions. And you're like, wait, I thought we did the sanctions. We seem to do
and
this over and over. Like, what are the last ones if there's still more? So
yeah.
they try
Who
to put pressure. Russia used to supply most of Europe with all of its oil and natural gas. And,
okay.
really it comes out of Houston now. So most natural gas, I think U.S. exports of natural gas have almost tripled. And so we supply most of natural gas. Hungary is harder to supply natural gas to because it's kind of inland.
Mhm.
But as you see, Hungary is still hungry for Russian oil. So they're ones that the president there has been outspoken. Hopefully he's ousted in this next election, but he's somewhat
Yeah.
outspoken in support of Russia. So they're still buying oil. Slovakia is still buying oil. France is actually still buying oil. And so those three countries are still bringing in some of that Russian oil. So
Yeah.
but it's I mean, tremendously lower than what it was at any one
Okay.
point in time. But then, so Russia's left to find new buyers of its oil. So China
Okay.
has more than willing stepped up and said, "We love
Yeah.
to buy cheap oil. Please bring it in, and we're going to pay you nothing for it." So they've
Yeah.
come in. India has, also found where they can buy Russian
Mhm.
oil and then resell it to the world and make a small profit on it. So
Mhm.
that's really where the White House has come in and tried to put a lot of pressure on India to,
Yeah.
stop doing it. But what's strange is there's no pressure on China really. We have this sanctions talk, and
Yeah.
it's strange that China doesn't want to assist. It seems to say, well, we'll stay our own and take advantage of the opportunities we have, which is cheap oil. And
Yeah.
so they do. So yeah. So the White House has tried to put some pressure on things, but then when it comes down, they
Yeah.
threaten sanctions, but they don't actually do anything, which is
Yeah.
strange. That there is some weird thing with Trump and Putin. I don't quite understand
Yeah.
some bromance that doesn't seem to be in our country's interest.
Well, I don't understand why Trump seems to trust Putin so much where, oh, I had a good meeting with him. We talked, we had a very good discussion. I think we're on our way to finding peace. And then he'll bomb Ukraine hours later.
Well,
Almost
he did
every
it.
time.
He did
It's
it
like why
before he even came to the U.S. He was bombing them. So
right. So why I just don't know. I don't know
it
why you
makes no
trust him.
sense.
That's
Yep,
there's
it makes no sense. He's
yeah.
clearly not followed through on any of the most recent discussions that they have had.
Hmm.
And even President Trump has admitted, like, he's not doing
Yeah.
it. He can't take him. His relationship has, no strength anymore. And yet nothing really comes out of it. So
What do you think should be the next step? Because I I don't know, I guess enough about stopping a war. I'm like, are we gonna
mhm.
have to get involved, with our military? Or I'm not sure what the next step is, I
Well,
guess.
here's what's strange. It had Republicans come in looking at this in a different way,
Hmm.
it would have changed quite a few things. And this includes the MAGA movement.
Okay.
Because it was Democrats and President Biden, I think MAGA just automatically wanted to do anything that that was against what he was doing,
Hmm.
and everything he did was bad and wrong. Now they're slowly starting to realize, like, oh, okay, maybe there was some reality check to that, right?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, when this first happened in early 2022, the US was so slow to supply anything. So if you remember,
Oh.
Zelensky, they offered Zelensky a ride out. He didn't take the ride. He said, I don't need a ride. I need an ammo. Like, give me
Hmm.
some guns. And
Hmm.
many don't know, but Ukraine didn't really even have an army in 2014 when the first invasion happened, when they first went into Crimea and then into Donetsk and Luhansk. So they didn't have an army. I mean, it was not much to talk of. So they have built up what they have, as now they lead the world in drone technology. But it's taken a lot to get there over a number of different presidents.
Hmm.
And many presidents have basically drugged their feet in supplying Ukraine weapons. And you could make the argument that, okay, maybe the US is doing it on purpose. Maybe the
Yeah.
US wants a weak Russia, which this would, um, bode towards a couple of historians out there who are, in support of the Russia side, Mishheimer and um, Case. And so for both of them, that would say, okay, well, if the U.S. is doing this on purpose
Hmm.
and they want to weaken Russia, why would they want to weaken Russia? Okay, a weak Russia means, a stronger Europe and a stronger U.S. under their argument, which could be true. And so for them, they're like, well, if we drag this out and don't arm Ukraine really well, then there's going to have to be a whole bunch of fighting.
Yeah.
Some things that people don't know about Russia. Russia is shrinking by almost 500,000 people every year, not including the war. So they have a
Really?
decreasing population. There's not enough babies being born for the
Okay.
amount of elderly that are passing away.
Hmm.
And, you know, this only makes it worse. And so
Yeah.
as they start to escalate, 500,000 people a year is a lot when you have 140 million people. So as they start to decline faster, having a war that isn't over fast and there's no ceasefire if it drags out,
Mhm.
does do a lot. Unfortunately, it would be the Ukrainians who are, having to, foot the bill for that with lives.
Yeah.
And the US and Ukraine, I mean, ultimately the US has made money from this war. So there could be that argument. But if that were the case, then MAGA movement and the Republicans should step up and say, well, maybe we should actually arm Ukraine.
Yeah.
We really haven't. We've only given them about 37 billion in aid and about 64 billion in war credits. And war credits mean we don't give you money. We'll just sell you some of our old used equipment. So
Okay.
UC Berkeley did a study to say, okay, our 64 billion actually equated to about 18 billion worth of old used equipment. And that's what we've sent to
Okay.
Ukraine. So even though we hear it on the news, it isn't that much, and we're very slow to give it. So
Mhm.
in my own, I would say if they really wanted to come to a ceasefire, well, let's actually arm Ukraine.
Yeah.
Let's stop with this slow boat nonsense.
Yeah.
When Trump got elected, they shut down communications, and so Russia took back Kursk, which seems crazy.
Yeah.
They've done a number of things to try to, um, slow down the motivation of the Ukrainian troops and
Mhm.
morale. And so there's a few things that could be done just helping saying let's actually arm Ukraine with what they need. They have a great military. We now use the military for our own direct technology, drone technologies. And so
Mhm.
that would be one. The second one is we talk to China constantly. We try to do deals with China,
Yeah.
but we do not put them at the forefront. China wants to be a national player
Uh-huh.
and they want to be seen as the one trying to win peace. They do not want Russia to lose because to
Right.
them, they see Ukraine as equivalent to China's Taiwan.
I was wondering that.
So,
Yeah.
so in my own, it's like bring China to the table. There's lots of
Mhm.
concessions that can be made there, but if China doesn't come to the table, there's nothing. I mean, Russia is running out of money. They can
Okay.
that, but that doesn't mean they can be stopped. And what I mean by that is the entire Eastern Europe. If you travel to Eastern Europe, you
Mhm.
find that the people there are very resilient. Ukrainian people as well. The entire Soviet bloc, they're all very resilient because they're all very poor.
Okay.
So the average wages are $600 a month, American.
Oh,
And when wages are so low, you find most of them, they grow gardens, they
yeah.
can food. I mean, what they can live on, I mean, it's just mind boggling to an American, right? It's like, well, how
Mhm.
do you do that? And you find out they're all very self sufficient.
Yeah.
And because they're so self sufficient, they can drag things on for a long time, even with a broke economy. so,
Okay.
so this is a problem for both of them. It means Russia can carry on for a long time. They just won't have the budget to really do a ton of attacks, and Ukraine can defend for a long time. And that's not good for anyone, right? It means this
No.
is going to be a forever war, even as money runs out. And all the economists are saying, oh no, well, they'll run out of money in about 12 months and then they'll stop. But it's like,
That's still a
well,
year.
no. Yeah, no. I mean, when
But
they'll
yeah.
do it until they don't mind running out of money. That's not a thing. They're in it for pride for sure.
Yeah.
So really, it's not going to be them running out of money. That's not the strategy. And
Mhm.
so trying to slow boat giving weapons to Ukraine until Russia's like almost broke, that's not going to bring it. It's going to
Yeah.
have, you have to arm Ukraine. They're going to have to send them on the retreat. And
Yeah.
until there is a retreat, nobody will sit down and talk. If they think they're moving forward, Russia's not going to stop. And so
Mhm.
you're going to have to, arm Ukraine, get them on the retreat, and then bring China to the table. And finally, you will get Putin to come to the table and realize like he
Yeah.
better make a deal. And so
Yeah.
until they do that, they've got nothing. And I mean, it's weird because when President Trump first came to this, when he first got elected, the first thing he did was give away what he thought was a strategy. And I
Oh,
mean, here's a
really?
guy who says he's the art of the deal. But his
Yeah.
deal he gave, instead of holding it close to the chest and saying, I'm going to go talk to him and then we'll figure out, he said, Ukraine's going to have to, you know, secede all the land. It's going to have to. And we're
Yeah.
going to stop giving them ammo. It's like, wait a minute. So you take the ammo away and then you tell them what deal they have to make. How is that a deal?
Yeah.
What you should do is arm Ukraine. Say you're going to arm Ukraine for infinity if you need to, for as long as it takes. Now
Hmm.
Russia has a reason to come to the table because there is no end in sight. And that seemed like a strange strategy for a guy who claims he knows how to do deals. So
Yeah.
he went into this from January 20th as the underdog and trying to negotiate with Putin by giving
Yeah.
Putin everything he wanted. And so that makes no sense, and it's not going to lead us anywhere into trying to, find a peaceful thing.
Yeah.
So
So, and and again, this is weird because sometimes he'll say stuff and it's like, well, why did you say this thing? And it's almost enough to instigate someone to come to him to make a deal.
are you
But
talking about
that's not
President Trump?
Yes, I'm talking about President Trump. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll say things that it's like, where did that come from? And then like, you don't realize that he was kind of instigating something and then somebody will come to him to make a deal. But, so
Half the time he says stuff and I have no idea what he's saying. So he's like,
I
it's
know,
beautiful. It's great. It's
I
amazing.
know.
Those dogs are the most beautiful dogs. I've never seen dogs so beautiful. You're like, what?
I'm,
Who has
and I'm a
beautiful
Trump
dogs?
fan and I'm like, what the hell is he doing today? Like, what is he like?
It's
It
very
is
confusing.
embarrassing
So yes.
sometimes. And, it's just like,
The UN
oh,
the UN speech, I don't even know what to say about the UN speech. So
um,
the
they
America
really,
is amazing. We have amazing roads. We have it's like,
yeah.
okay, you're
They really put him through the ringer though with the teleprompter and the else. I think they got under his skin immediately with that broken
yes.
escalator and
Yes.
then
We want the escalator files. Release them. There's
that's, that's the thing too is like just chuckle and move on. Why are you all
serious.
over the
Serious.
internet wanting to
Serious.
investigate these people? Like
Exactly.
Melania just walked up like, "Oh, it stopped. Okay, just walk up the
Yeah.
escalator.
Well,
Why
apparently
even bring it up again?"
the cameraman before him tripped it, and that's what stopped it. But now they're like, oh, so you don't see that, but there's like a cameraman up. But now it's like, oh, what? How dare you embarrass me? This, what a
Yeah.
flop. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's see,
So
I have a guy at work that and sorry I'm talking about you, but um he people will kind of poke at him and it's almost like the Trump response where you make people make fun of you more by your response. Just
mm,
laugh and move on. Why are you going back and and making it worse for yourself? But yeah, back to Ukraine. So I haven't hadn't really looked at it from that point, but I do it, I personally want wars ended as soon as possible. And that might not be good for one side, but in the long run, you may millions of lives
well,
may be saved.
for Russia, it's good to end this war. I mean, they won't claim it, but
Mhm.
there's close to 1 million young men missing.
Yeah,
So
I've
if you
heard
look
that.
from their own director of state who runs employment, so from the Kremlin, they're like, okay, well, we're missing about 2.6 million people in the labor force right now. And so wages are going up. That's great, except for everybody's wages are going up. That's not great. When
Right.
you go up and not others, that's a pay increase. When everybody goes up, that's inflation. And so
Hmm.
they're faced with about 11% inflation. Their interest rates are about 22%. And so it's not great. They're missing a lot of people. And so for them to
Yeah.
end it, it's also very needed. But what's been going, how they've been successful in bringing people to volunteer is they end up paying people about $26,000 a year, which to a Russian, that is a fortune. So in a country
Okay.
where they normally make, maybe $10,000 a year
Okay.
in a salary,
Yeah.
they get 26 just for a signing bonus. That's huge.
Oh man.
And they're not going to be able to continue paying people that. That's a lie and a myth that they're going to be doing. But most
Yeah.
of these men disappear, and then of course they pay like a severance to the family, and so families are now excited to get money. So thus far, he has bought support from the Russia
Hmm.
side, but it's not going to continue forever. But what's sad is One day they're going to wake up. They're missing 1 million young men, many of them
Yeah.
fathers, husbands, sons. I mean, that's gone when you already have a shrinking population.
Yeah.
That's your workforce. So after this war, their entire economy has become war driven. And so
Mhm.
you see businesses shuttering. Russia did a deal, what are called panda bonds with China. What it means
Okay.
is private companies in Russia can now issue bonds and borrow money from China, basically. Not
Okay.
public money, private money. And you would think that would be great, except for right now, the Russian companies are faced with paying interest rates of 15 to 20%. So this is why they're going under. They don't have any business, they don't have any
Mhm.
customers, their supply lines are dried up. And because they're paying so much in interest, their lifeline is you can borrow more. But do you think China's going to say, oh, yeah, we'll give you really low rates? No, these panda
Oh.
bonds are going to come out at like
Yeah.
25% interest. So this
Yeah.
isn't, they call it a lifeline, but it's not going to win much favor. Gazprom, which is Putin's puppet company that brings him lots, it's been running
Mhm.
losses. So his cash cow is drying up. And this is, they think the saving grace is going to be they'll be able to borrow money to continue. Um,
Mhm. Huh.
Pulling out oil just from panda bonds, and it's going to be so expensive, so expensive. And
Yeah.
this is why Ukraine is going after all of the refineries because they ultimately have to stop the cash cow, so
Mhm.
dry up money more. But
Yeah. I
yeah, so
so I have to wonder if if the United States would have saved money itself if we would have just given the weapons to Ukraine that they need immediately instead
exactly.
of this little bit here and there, little,
Exactly. Well, so war credits are interesting. When you issue war credits, remember it's all American weapons and ammo. A rule for American weapons and ammo, 100% of it and supply lines have to be in the US. So if you want to boost
Okay.
American companies the most, it's war credits. So this is where you have the, you know, military industrial complex stepping in saying like
Yeah.
let's do war, let's do war.
Yeah.
So if had we actually armed Ukraine, which is strange that Republican magas didn't come out as hawks, they came out
Uh-huh.
as doves and are really Putin supporters. It
Yeah.
seems so strange that it's come out that way instead of saying like Biden, you were slow, and what you failed at is you did not help Ukraine. You've drugged
Mhm.
this on. That's the real argument for any true Republican, is that this helps us. And for 37 billion in economic aid and 64 billion in war credits, which was actually 18,
Uh-huh.
that's less than 1% of the US's military budget, which is around almost 900 billion now. And they're trying to cut it to about 800.
Yeah.
So for less than 1%, we have been able to basically take out almost 2/3 of all Russian equipment. So they're down
Mhm.
to using World War One tanks and donkeys on the battlefield.
Oh
So
man.
we have crippled a military force for less than 1% of our budget. And
Mhm.
people are complaining about that. And to me, I'm like, that's pretty cheap to put this together. How about you actually arm them? How about you actually send them some real weapons
Yeah.
and let's actually put this in check. There was
Yeah.
never. I know there's all this NATO talk, and we can go into the history of where we got there, but none of that is realistic. This isn't
Right.
have. This has nothing to do with NATO. This
Yeah.
is solely Putin's desire after COVID. In his memoir, which he wrote, Putin really follows a guy by the name of Alexander Dugin. Alexander
Okay.
Dugin is a religious philosopher in Russia and very close to Putin, and believes in what is, I would say, the Bolsheviks. The Bolshevik is this idea that Russia should ultimately, it's a fascist claim,
Mhm.
but ultimately they believe all of Europe should really be under the Russian Empire. And so they
Okay.
believe in putting back together the Russian Empire, and that Ukraine has no rights to sovereignty, that it is
Mhm.
nothing more than a Russian, outlet or
Yeah.
even enclave to what it owns as far as Poland and many other parts of Europe.
Yeah.
And so this is really a push for that. It makes no modern sense. And, it is a World War II like effort being taken on. But because there's so much corruption in Russia, they don't have much of a military. They've never really had much. I mean, to put on this
Mhm.
fight that really their problem is just corruption. People can't get uniforms, they can't get guns, they can't get equipment because all of the generals in the Russian army have basically sold it and used it to get anything they can.
Yeah.
So they clearly, I mean, when President Trump has now made comments against Russia, which are actually true,
Mhm.
which is a paper tiger, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't even make it through Ukraine, which didn't have a military by in 2014. They
Yeah.
can't do much to anyone else.
Right. Some of the videos that came out when that first happened of the Ukrainians fighting was just like, "Oh, wow, they're looking pretty badass." You know? The
Yeah. Well, if you
um
remember in the beginning, Americans were right to support them, and there was a lot of support because you had Putin lie right to
Mhm.
all of our face. He said, "No, we're
Mhm.
just doing a military operation. It's a
Yeah.
training. It's a drill. No, stop this." In fact,
Yeah.
Zelensky asked Biden to stop saying that because listen, you're hurting our economy. You're scaring away terrorists. They're clearly not going to invade.
Yeah.
So Biden was the
Wow.
only one who was right. Putin lied. He
Interesting.
invaded. And what did the Ukrainian people did? You had farmers and tractors pulling tanks off, right? As they run out of
Yeah.
gas trying to fight. You had grandmothers and mothers making Molotov cocktails. That
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
Ukrainian military. That and we've all forgotten that. We don't
Mhm.
remember when they were like literally being invaded and every citizen became a fighter and was going to do
Yeah.
everything they can. They pushed the Russian army back. Ultimately, I my own take is I don't think Putin was planning an invasion like he has done now.
Okay.
My own take is that similar to what he did in Georgia, what he did in Georgia was he was told that he could go in and a lot of sympathizers would just fold. Russian
Mhm.
force would walk in and look almighty. They
Mhm.
invade into Georgia. And then what happens? Everybody cedes, the government topples, and they put back in their puppet.
Yeah.
So I think, if you look at really what Russia did, it doesn't seem like, because I mean, only having 120,000 troops isn't really
Yeah.
much to do a massive invasion from the directions they were going, right?
Yeah.
But it is definitely enough to scare a lot of people and to try to put in a massive force. And they did. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. They
Mhm.
used weapons. They were going to kill some people, and they did in
Yeah.
Georgia too. But nothing like that happened. They weren't
Yeah.
able to take
Yeah.
the Kiev airport. They weren't take a lot of things. So then you kind of had a half plan where you're like, well,
Mhm.
this was supposed to be over and
Kinda backfired.
toppled, and I
Yeah.
put my president back in, and I have a
Mhm.
puppet government, and we're in control. So it's all about influence. That didn't happen. So now you have Putin with egg all over his face.
Yeah.
So then he has
Yeah.
to say, well, shoot, now I need to regroup. All right, get everybody out from the north. Let's actually invade and just take back the whole Donetsk and what is known as the Donbass area. The
Mhm.
Donbass is, 4 oblasts and Crimea. And
Okay.
so now it's like an effort just to, basically take that. So this is all really about one person's ego and saving
Yeah.
face, who is Putin.
Yeah.
And so that's where a show of force from the Ukrainian side was very needed. And Americans should
Yeah.
be like, arm these people, help them. I mean, they're clearly,
Yeah.
fighting for, survival here. If Ukrainians stop fighting, well, a lot of Ukrainians die and Russia invades. If Russia
Mhm.
stops fighting, we have peace. I mean,
Yeah.
that logic is really strange that so many Americans, especially on the Republican side, do not do that. We've heard our vice president just so disrespectful for a country of peaceful people trying to defend themselves that it just
Mhm.
blows me away. It actually
Yeah.
hurts because this is an independent country. I'm not saying they're the strongest democracy.
Right.
Neither is Israel, but we
Right.
seem to help them. But they
Yeah.
are a democracy.
Yeah.
They are an ally. And I don't see why we can't support them because it really, so
Mhm.
back to the money, any war credits we give help US companies.
Yeah.
So if we really want an economic boost, this would be a great time to give lots of ammo
Yeah. See,
because it would only benefit Americans. We make money right now on the whole deal because we sell oil to Europe. So as a Texan, We
Mhm.
produce a lot of cash selling, a lot of oil
Yeah.
to Europe.
See, I blame some of this on how it was presented by both administrations, really, because you made a bunch of points that I have not heard either administration mention. And I I will say in the first few months of Trump's second term, it people were starting to view Zelensky as the
It's a crook.
enemy.
Yeah,
Yes, and I will say I wasn't too happy with him either, but I care about the country because it's like just make a deal, just make a deal. But but yeah, instead of viewing things from a strategic, military strategy or how it would best affect us, I guess. People were like, "Well, we're sending you all this money and blah 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 and you just keep asking for more, more, more." But as you pointed out, if they would have gotten what they needed immediately,
it'd be over.
everyone would have been better off.
We've been
So
done.
I do think that it's the responsibility of
But
both administrations for
but the
lack of
question is,
communication.
is it in our best interest? And
Right.
that's what I don't like. The military, the
Hmm.
military complex, is it? They would say no, it's not in our best interest because a weaker Russia is a stronger U.S.
Yeah.
And what that means is Ukrainian and Russians die. So we're saying
Yeah.
the cost is Russian lives. So for
Hmm.
Americans, it's like, oh, it's cheap money. So slow boat the ammo, and
Yeah.
we'll just do more spending because now NATO is doing more spending.
Hmm.
Everybody's trying to build up. So the industrial
Yeah.
complex is spending a lot of money on war right
Yeah.
now, even though nobody's fighting as far as NATO goes.
Hmm.
So they're all happy that all the spending is going on, but lives are being lost, and it
Yeah.
makes no sense. So
Yeah.
now,
I
if we can, just because we brought it up, let's go and take one point because
yeah.
I get this a lot from the right, where they say, "Well,
Okay.
didn't Ukraine provoke Russia?" And let's take the argument. So in 2008, in Budapest or
Uh-huh.
Bucharest, the original one was in Budapest in '94, where the U.S. made a deal that we'd get Ukraine to hand over almost 2,000 nuclear warheads and the missiles of which they were attached to, most of them. So
Hmm.
we made a deal that Ukraine would unarm. And many people say, oh, but they didn't have the codes. Well, they had 2,000 warheads. They don't need a code to launch a
Uh-huh.
nuclear weapon. And so the US promised, they made a promise that you disarm, make the world better by having fewer nukes, and we'll put you under our protection. So we made a promise in '94.
Yeah.
Then in 2008, yes, there were other countries that were more than happy in '91 after the Warsaw Pact ended to
Hmm.
join NATO as fast as they could. They ran from the Warsaw Pact and they jumped into NATO, right? So, yes,
Yeah.
NATO expanded. In 2008, it was clearly defined by George Bush that we are not going to add it. He was definitely promoting it. He was saying,
Uh-huh.
let's look into adding Ukraine. But it was decided they wouldn't even review their application to join NATO. That was the last time it was talked about.
Hmm.
Zero, Ukraine couldn't even apply. So that was it.
Yeah.
No NATO, no discussion. In
Okay.
2014, when Crimea was invaded by Russia,
Hmm.
that made it ineligible to apply to be part of NATO because they had a disputed border. So Russia invading Crimea made Ukraine ineligible to join NATO. So here are two specific times in 2008 and then
Hmm.
2004 where it was never even talked about joining NATO. It was done. Russia did
Yeah.
come with some, deal to put something, together to make peace, but or
Uh-huh.
not to make peace, but to try to have it claim to be neutral. But it was more of a farce, so they could have an excuse to invade Crimea.
Hmm.
But so there was never the NATO wasn't even a conversation. So why now in 2022 when he makes his full scale invasion, why do
Uh-huh.
people think somehow that Russia is justified because they were provoked because
Yeah.
Ukraine would join NATO? Like I don't understand these. Like that is
No.
an ongoing. Our own vice president and
Yeah.
president has echoed this rubbish, which makes no
Yeah.
sense. They were not going to join NATO. There was what random day
Yeah.
was it like, well, today seems like a day I'm mad that they're, thinking
Yeah.
about NATO 20 years ago. Let's invade them. I mean,
Right.
what is the math there? None of it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you explaining all this to me because I tend to not there's only so much that I can go into and I'm like, "You know what? That's not my
You're
country."
not alone. Everybody. Yeah, there's so much to know about it. It's like this is weird. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. And so even with the with what's going on with Israel, basically like my whole thing is if we're going to get involved in a war, I want us to end it. I want to save it, the most lives as possible, and
Exactly.
I want us to get out of there. Cuz I guess I am America first.
Exactly.
I
We have
care
no
about other
business. We don't
people.
want a military there. We don't want to expand.
Right.
It's like
Right.
help them do peace and let's get out. Get it over
Yeah.
with.
And I feel like for being America first, we sure are sticking our noses in other people's business a lot and not really helping them very effectively. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't take sides
Well,
on them,
this America First policy is strange because America First, if it includes Canada, Greenland,
Right.
Panama Canal, it's like it's weird to have American First, except for these places where we want to invade. It's like, wait a minute, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I, politics have been crazy. I mean, and they might have always been. I've followed politics since I was 14 and
Hmm,
but only to what extent, and I
right.
just feel like things have gotten really but we have more access to information now and I'm sure
Yeah.
they've been
Well,
crazy this whole time.
it's strange because
So,
access to information goes two ways, right? Russia doesn't have access to information, so it's all censored.
uh-huh.
And so we can all admit that most Russians are lied to with propaganda. In the
Yeah.
US, we have too much information. Everybody can write anything. In fact, the Russians did during an election through Facebook, and
Yeah.
no one knew what to believe, right? So we have too
Mhm.
much information. So we're both left. Russians have controlled media, managed media. We don't, yet nobody knows what is actually true. So
Mhm.
I don't know which
Yeah.
one's better or worse.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting
Yeah.
managed media by any means, but it does create
Right.
a problem because I have realized in this country, like people spew so many
Yeah.
false propaganda that I'm like
Yeah.
that. How do we ultimately come down with some facts? Because that's not true.
Mhm. I know. That's yeah, you don't wanna censor anybody, but and I've learned to not even comment to people and try and correct them
Mm.
because it's like I will waste my own time by
I
doing
have a
this.
Twitter problem. I mean,
Yeah, do ya?
it's,
I'm
uh,
pretty good about not yeah, I'm pretty good about not commenting, but then I get ticked and I think about it, "I should have said this," and it's like,
yes,
"No,
I
it
have a
would've
problem.
gotten you nowhere." So,
It's yes, I need to stay off of Twitter. I need some breaks occasionally, but yes, there are.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that
it's
it's a
funny.
town hall. I do
Mhm.
enjoy setting, and trying to, there is a place where it can be debated, but
Yeah.
to have very common things and having to have that argument over and over and
Mhm.
over is just strange.
Yeah.
So it's like community notes, it's one thing, but
Yeah.
we do need to find some source of truth. I think that's
Yeah.
important to have some source of truth that everybody can trust.
Mhm.
That's really hard now. That because even the news, well, you have Rupert Murdoch who owns Wall Street Journal, owns Fox
Mhm.
News. So you have Jeff Bezos who owns World News. You have Elon Musk who owns Twitter. You have Mark
Mhm.
Zuckerberg who owns Instagram and Facebook. So
Mhm.
I don't know what's the difference between rich men controlling our media source and
Yeah.
even, I mean, this bodes to a Trump argument, but Jeff Bezos, when or is it news uh what what does he own? Is it News Corp? No, not News Corp.
Um,
That's Rupert Murdoch. Anyways, I Washington Post.
oh,
I
yes, that's
said
right.
something.
Yeah.
Bezos owns Washington Post.
Yeah.
Washington Post has endorsed a candidate for every presidential election since their
Mhm.
start. And then coincidentally, when it's very well known that Trump will be the nominee, they decide, well, we're going to discontinue. Right.
Yeah.
So even though he tried to say, no, it's because we don't want to be biased, it's like, okay, well,
Uh-huh.
for or against a president is bad. I'm
Yeah.
against, I'm against, wealthy people can use their influence.
Mhm.
especially in media in lots of ways. And so, is that
Yeah.
better or worse than state run? They say it's a source of truth. I don't know. I do
Yeah.
subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. I feel if you want real news, you should pay for it. So I do pay for it. But I'm also aware the Wall Street Journal tends to be very war happy. The editorial
Okay.
board
Yeah.
seems to be more on the let's bomb the hell out of
Yeah.
them. And so you
Yeah.
find that much where I will constantly be like, this is the worst editorial board review I've ever seen. Like, what are you talking about? But I do need a source roof. So Financial Times, I
Mhm.
subscribe to there. So I feel I need to pay. And if I use
Yeah.
Twitter, I should know in advance that there's going to be a lot of news that comes through, but I shouldn't take any of it with anything more than a grain of salt.
Mhm.
That I need to back it up with some kind of news or some kind of truth, because
Yeah.
otherwise, I just believing like anyone else, anything random that comes. But it's fun to
Yeah.
have Twitter because you'll get the first rumors that are usually
Yeah.
false. And then, but you
Yeah.
got to calm down, like not run on it. And then you
Mhm.
wait after a while, you're like, oh, that's not what really happened. If you really
Yes.
look, it's close, but here's what really happened. But you
Yeah.
can get the rumors early,
Yeah.
right? That's news. So,
It's yeah.
whereas
Can be entertaining at times.
right, well, Wall Street
I
Journal, I like they won't release anything until they've got more of the
until they've
story. So
confirmed it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's um one thing that I like. A lot of people don't like Nancy Grace. I like Nancy Grace because she might not be as on top of things. The YouTubers might say things that contradict her, but she will not say something unless it is
She knows.
confirmed to be
Yeah.
true, But sometimes I'll ask Grok, like, do you use Grok at all?
I've
That
tend
I
to use
say
Grok more than any of the others now,
I
just
I'm
because
really liking it.
Jim and I came up, and now they're like, oh, you hit your limit, you have to pay.
Oh,
So now I
okay.
use Grok as one of the remaining
Yeah.
free ones.
Yeah. So I use that a lot, and I know they've had some issues with it leaning one way or the other depending on what they're programming doing that day, but um you'll see a lot of reports go across Twitter, and then it's like, okay, well, what can you give me the summary of what's going on? And it'll tell you there's actually nothing backing up any of these claims. It's a
Right,
very popular story, but none of it is based in fact. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Now I've saved myself
right,
some time. I'm not even going to talk about it.
right. But now, what scares me, and this really goes into media, right? Is
Hmm.
you will see on Twitter many times people will be like, Grok, is this true? Right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
now it has become the source of truth for so many people. And that's a little worrisome, because it's good that people are like, okay, I need to know if this is true or not because it's so
Hmm.
outlandish. Like, okay, has someone actually announced that there were 300 FBI agents during January 6th,
Hmm.
right? Which isn't substantiated, isn't true. But so people will go, Grok, is this true? And so Grok will tell them. But if they become dependent on Grok, well, hasn't Grok now become a very controllable source of truth that may not
Yes.
actually be the truth? And that's what I worry about, is the source of truth being Grok is Elon
Uh-huh.
Musk. And
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
want that to be the source of truth, I mean, okay, but we have to be aware, like how that's what's hard.
Hmm.
So in Russia, again, it's the state. Like Putin controls the source of truth as
Hmm.
far as the Russians go. It's the propaganda. Here,
Yeah.
there's so many avenues to the source of truth, so we just have to be careful. Like, who and where do we have that source of truth? And to see Commissioner Carr go after the Jimmy Kimmel's show, like
Hmm.
that's fair. It should be concerning to us all. They're
Yeah.
saying they're doing it because they need to protect the viewers within the broadcasting system from both
Uh-huh.
Sinclair and the other firm. But
Next star,
Nexstar,
right?
right? But
Yeah.
how is that protecting us by censoring what we hear? Shouldn't we have the freedom to hear both sides? That's weird. How is
Yeah.
that protecting us of anything? But then you say, okay, well, if you're going to hear both sides, then we have the opposite argument. Like, well,
Hmm.
okay, well, if you hear both sides, how do you know which one's true?
Yeah.
Comes a constant argument of where and what is the source of truth, and it seems like to me anything our president says should be 100% word for word accurate and true.
Hmm.
We know very well that that is
It's
not true. For
yeah,
many years, people are like, just excuse him. He just says whatever is coming out. And he does,
yeah,
right? And so
yeah,
sometimes it's great because you get full transparency,
yeah,
right? Because you hear what's going on. But sometimes it's not great because you get full transparency. So you really, don't
yeah,
know what is going on. You're like, wait, this is like back and forth all over the place.
yeah,
It's just spewing. Like, what is the truth? Because you're
yeah,
just saying whatever comes to mind. So it's
yeah,
hard because where
yeah.
both sides have its problems.
Right, of course. What I didn't like with the Jimmy Kimmel thing is, I did not like that the FCC commissioner got involved at all. If that was a company
Now
decision
his,
and it
his was just
wasn't
verbal. He didn't make a decision. His was just verbal. But the fact
right.
that he would say
Yeah.
that is just concerning.
Yes, it made it look like and Trump himself, the way he said it, it made it look like he and his administration took Jimmy Kimmel off
Exactly.
the air. And
Exactly.
that's where you get the
Well, he
because to
even
me I'm like,
called to go farther. He wanted Jimmy Fallon
mhm,
taken off an NBC,
which
so he even pushed for more. It was like,
right, which Jimmy Fallon, I thought Jimmy Fallon was the nicest to Trump the longest, and I sometimes I see him kind of going after people where it's like, why are you going after them? But yeah,
right.
it's in the, this administration does there's certain things where I hate how they handle how they speak with the public. This I love the transparency. I hate how they represent things. I hate how they talk tough. I hate how they kind of insert themselves in situations that they shouldn't be inserted in and or they're not even involved in all. So
Make problems where they aren't. For
yeah,
example, like I think we should take over Canada. How? What's Greenland
I
look
don't even
like?
know where that
What's
came from.
It was weird because you're like,
Yeah,
all right, we're America first, everybody's doing it, and then they just come up with problems
yeah.
we didn't
The
have. So.
Panama and Greenland, I could see some military strategy there with both of those, and it sounds like they solved their issues with Panama, and then Greenland was not interested, and whatever it went away. But yeah, it
Well, I don't know if they solved the problems. An American firm was able to buy some Chinese firms which still own there, and so, but they haven't done
okay.
anything different. So that's what's weird is they've stopped talking about Panama. So it could be
Uh,
that they got the money they needed.
hmm.
But now Panama's off the radar.
It is
Greenland's
interesting.
weird because to do anything in Greenland, you're talking about going through like 40 feet of ice.
Yeah,
I mean, and to what? Protect us from who? There's only
I
one country that would be geopolitically protective in Greenland, Russia.
right, right. Yeah.
So again, let's arm Ukraine. It make
Mm-hmm.
more sense to arm Ukraine than
Yeah,
put anything in Greenland. We already have bases in Greenland. So I don't
yeah,
know why we need to control it. There's
yeah.
50,000 people that live there. None of us want to move there.
No,
So,
no. It does make you wonder, like, how much is going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about.
exactly.
You
Well,
know.
Trump's family has made close to $8 billion unrealized behind the scenes from crypto that no one likes to talk about. Just in the
Yeah.
meme coin of the
Okay.
Trump and Melania meme coin, they've
Uh
made
huh.
over $300 million in fees just having that meme coin.
So that explains his obsession
Oh,
with
it's huge.
crypto.
Yeah, the Genius
Cause I
Act helped his son. So his
yeah.
son started what's called Liberty Financial.
Okay.
Liberty Financial is their fund that before he was elected in the primaries, they tried to go and raise 500 million. Couldn't do it. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. It was out.
Mm,
Well, then they got elected in the primaries. And lo and behold, it was quite easy to raise not 500 million, but 2 billion. And what their main thing, there's Liberty Financial has a stable coin which is USD1 now. And the
okay.
stable coin means they're going to buy as much American dollars. So you could buy
Okay.
coin in Liberty Fund. And then you could also buy the USD1, which if you remember, oh shoot, who is the White House's negotiator that has no experience whatsoever? His name has just slipped me. Um,
Are you talking about Special Envoy Steve Witkoff
yes,
or?
thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
So Steve Witkoff, if you know his background, well, his son is married to Trump's daughter. That's how they know each other.
That's
Their
Jared.
family. Nope,
What?
not Kushner. Wrong family. Wrong
Oh,
daughter. Yep.
oh, Tiffany.
Yep. So that is Tiffany's father-in-law. And
Okay.
so his son and Trump's sons all own World Liberty Financial, the fund. And which, when they went on the trip, so Witkoff went on the trip to Saudi Arabia and
Hmm.
throughout, most of the Arab countries. Well, guess who went on the exact same trip at the exact same time? All the sons of both of them.
Mm,
And they raised almost $2 billion out of it for their World Liberty Financial. So the
yeah.
stable coin has grown so much that just the Trump family has averaged about $1 billion in value increase every month. And so it's
You're
going, I
breaking
mean,
my
and this
heart,
stable
man.
coin will, yeah, it will be very big in the US. With the Genius Act, it
Uh,
means that every bank can now do something, but the Genius Act has a rule: every bank, even a community bank, can now trade it, but they must maintain a stable coin, which means they must
hmm.
have an equal US dollars to every coin that they have available, which means there's going to be demand for a stable coin. So now, to throw something
Okay.
else that's also a bit strange is, if you remember Elon Musk's cousins, his cousins started a company called Solar City. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay. Mm-mm.
Tesla bought Solar City for $2 billion and then got sued, and
Okay.
it was approved. It kind of went under, actually. And so Tesla took over the solar thing and did their own thing, and I don't think used
Uh,
much of the assets. Those cousins took that $2 billion and created a blockchain rail called Solana.
okay.
And Solana is a lot of what this is trading on. So these are now Musk's cousins who are now going to be running a rail for blockchain. And on top of it is a uh, stable coin owned and operated by the Trump family. And that's what's going to be going across the country
You're
as
giving
part
me
of
a
the
lot of
Genius
stuff to think
Act.
about.
So, yes, it's unfortunate. It's very sad when you break down like how much money is involved and how many things
Hmm.
are moving. It's pretty crazy. So,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
think, we could be doing a lot of other things with, money. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always expect, like, I guess I'm not surprised at all. I feel like every politician that's been in there, or anyone who has money, there are things that they're doing that I don't approve of.
well, they
But
all,
yeah.
excluding Biden, seem to be very wealthy after they leave office. And I
Yes.
say that mockingly because Biden didn't seem to. They did an article recently where he has not been as successful on using his presidency to make any money.
Yeah.
And most of that, I think, is because he was out of
Gone.
it in the
Yeah.
presidency. So he clearly can't give a speech now.
Right.
So I
Right.
don't think he can leverage it because they're like, we don't even know who that guy is. So,
I know.
yeah.
I know. Oh goodness. That was we're living in wild times.
Yes.
Just
He definitely was Sleepy Joe. And
mhm.
had he been more awake, here's a guy who comes, and this is going back to kind of the Ukraine dispute.
Yeah.
We are fortunate that he was president during the time because he has such a long history with Putin
Mhm.
and Russia that he was always very circumspect of Putin. So that's why when
Okay.
he put up troops, Biden
Yeah.
was definitely one who's like, that is a false flag. Like, he's
Yeah.
doing something. He's done this before. I have a long history of watching him play these games.
Uh-huh.
And what's weird is Putin would love to do it on the eve or during the Winter Olympics.
Really?
So if you remember, he invaded Ukraine during the Chinese Olympics. He invaded
Uh-huh.
Crimea during the Russian Winter Olympics. So he likes to
Oh.
do it when people are sort of preoccupied with other
Mhm.
things. he
Mhm.
has he has
Yeah.
timing for what he
Interesting.
does. And
Yeah.
Biden didn't fall for it. It is kind of
Yeah.
astonishing that he didn't. Now, had he been more coherent, I think we'd have gotten something else. But
Yeah.
clearly he was,
Yeah.
Putin's invading, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta take a nap. So he's like,
Yeah.
he's out of
Yeah.
it. So, yeah,
I do think he would
unfortunately,
have
but
I do think he would have been a better president if he was with his faculties, because
yes,
some of the things that happened that kind of that tarnished his presidency, he has an ego too, like they all do, and I don't think he would have let certain things happen if he had been completely with it, you know.
No, no question, no question. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was with Governor Perry in Texas for a few years. So,
Mhm.
having been in, somewhat of an executive office like that, you
Mhm.
definitely know. I mean, you want someone who's going to hire really effective people that you
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
You want to hire people who are smarter than you. And so he leaned on, I think, a lot of that trust. And
Uh.
what we the people don't know is, was that trust taken advantage of
Mhm.
at the same time? We really don't know. And he
Right.
backs it and he supports everything, but we don't know. And so you can't kick him out of office. He was elected. So it's
Yeah.
really down to the fact that he was elected. If you didn't like it, you
Yeah.
shouldn't have voted for him. I mean, we keep voting in guys in their 70s, late
I
70s,
know.
going into 80s, and it doesn't make it's
I
like, well, find some
know.
young ones. If you have
Yeah.
a problem with it, find some young bucks or young
Mhm.
ladies, and
Yeah.
uh, go down that route. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be something our country wants to do yet. I'm so shocked
No.
that Trump was able to pull off a second term. It blows my mind. Out of all
I
the options we have in the world, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't get it. To be honest, the guy who's made the most sense to me throughout all this, I really seem to like Mitt Romney. He's kind
Okay.
of followed this, whether voted for him or not, I think is not the point. But
Uh-huh.
through some, if you see the Republican Party, I think
Yeah.
he, kind of represents the McCain and
Uh-huh.
this old party stance,
Yeah.
which is not what we see today. What we see today is a MAGA. There's a lot of dissenters in Congress, but
Mhm.
they are scared to death to say anything. So,
Yeah.
so right now they're afraid, Trump has the bully pulpit power to come in and get them unelected, and so
Mhm.
they're just like, whatever you say, as long as you're in power, we are doing this. So it's rubber
Yeah.
stamp. And luckily, we didn't see who's the Fed chair he tried to fire. Not
Oh,
Brooks.
Jerome Powell or
No,
Lisa
not
Cook.
Powell. Cook. Yeah, thanks you,
Yeah.
Lisa Cook. So
Yeah.
luckily they didn't throw her out, and so they're trying. I mean, but Supreme Court is running a shadow court right now, which is very disturbing. And what that means is when it goes before Supreme Court is basically making a ruling that we're not going to rule on it now, but we'll let you have your way until we rule on it in the future. They've used more
Mhm.
shadow decisions since
Mhm.
Trump has been elected than ever before in history.
Really?
So Supreme Court is basically saying, oh yeah, you can basically do what you want. Executive order, all right, we're gonna give you this one. Yeah, this, okay, we'll
Yeah.
give you that one. So he's getting a lot. So even Supreme Court is bowing to him. It's unprecedented, I think, what we're seeing right now with the amount of power that our president has amassed. And
Yeah.
a lot of Congress people we vote for, who we expect to have character and stand up for what's right, are scared to death to get unelected. And so, in the name
Yeah.
of their own power, they're not doing what we elected them for. So, my own opinion, I'm shocked that most of the MAGA people are not like, okay, out with y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's things are definitely different than I expected them to be. I mean I mean Trump is getting blocked from doing a lot of stuff, but then yes, once it gets to the Supreme Court, it's like he's fine, you know. Um and yeah, as far as the congressmen go and the senators, really they're not doing anything.
No, well,
Like
they don't want to. So,
right.
and Trump doesn't want them to. He's using the power of the executive order.
Mhm.
And so the executive order has become, you know, forthright
Yeah.
law. And so Congress is like, well, we don't want to pass law because we just want to wait till you become unpopular and then we can beat you up
Yeah.
at the midterms. So
Yeah.
they're all kind of scared, like, we don't know which way this will go. And so
Yeah.
Congress is useless right now. There's absolutely nothing coming out of Congress, and we won't see
Mhm.
anything. Even the Epstein files.
Oh man,
I mean,
don't even get me
they
started
stood up to
on
say, well,
that.
we'll get them released.
I
And
know.
then, what happened? They're like, well, we better go to break. They
That's
took a
and that
break.
goes back to what I was talking about with their communication is Pam Bondi sucks at her job. Like she's on won't give up a chance to get on Fox News and blah blah blah, talk tough, make all these promises that she
Well,
can't deliver on. And it's like just stop
Bondi,
talking then if you
Patel,
don't know.
they all have done completely different. than what they
than what they
said they
said.
were going to do.
Hmm.
So, and
Yeah,
whether that means, they watched a video that showed
I
the
know.
Kennedy
So good.
assassination from a different view that they've ever seen, and that's why they've changed, or if they're just as crazy as everybody else. It's pretty wild. Like
Yeah.
RFK, the things that come out of his mouth. I mean, I'm all for being healthy. I love
Hmm.
healthy. I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of things we can go healthy, but some of this is crazy talk.
Yeah.
All the way down to chemtrails, um, you know, abandoning the entire commission for vaccines, which
Hmm.
now the new one he put in have made basically the same decisions as the one before. So that's frustrating to him.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many things that just, have led this administration to look very inadequate. I
Hmm.
mean, it makes sense if you remember Trump's first term. He
Yeah.
tried to put in the best people for the job, the people who
Yeah.
should be there.
Yeah.
And
This
he
time he put
felt
in buddies.
that people who talked back to him were traitors. So
Yeah.
now he's like,
Yeah.
forget it, not doing that again. Now I want
Hmm.
100% loyalists. So
Hmm.
only people who are in, unfortunately, are dumb people. Let's not fool ourselves. These are people who are unqualified
Yeah.
and, in all respects of it, he seems to really like anyone who's been in a pageant. So he likes pageant,
There's
whether
been a
they've won a
couple where I'm
pageant.
like, what made you the best person
Yes.
for this
Instead of
job?
DEI, we basically have HOT policy now. He wants them
HOT.
to be hot, or it's like you don't make the cut. So even though they
Yeah.
balk about DEI, they have their own way of like, I
Yeah.
want you white and hot, and so this seems to be
Yeah.
the new standard. But yeah, a lot of people who are unqualified say the strangest things. And so,
Hmm.
and back to what you said about Bondi, she clearly said there were videos, lots of them, and lots
Yes.
of files. She was going through them and going to release
Yes.
them to then recant and say, oh, well, there are none. And then Patel's like, oh, there are none, even though Patel said there are none.
And he looked
And
like he was
then,
being held hostage at some point.
yes,
I'm
yes.
just like, he knows something.
And then if you look at the signatures, no matter what, it's clearly Trump who signed the birthday card. Had he come out and
Oh,
just owned it, I don't think, to be honest, he has so much ploy. He's done so many crazy things that I think people would have just been like, yeah, you sent him a birthday card. It's super creepy because we all no one questions whether Epstein and Trump have a similar proclivity to women. They're
uh-huh.
both, not the nicest guy towards ladies. I didn't think he did anything with young women, but now it seems
Right.
like he may have because this birthday card is clearly drawing the outlines of a young girl, not a woman. But the fact that
Oh, I didn't
this
even think
has,
about that.
yeah, the fact that this has turned things upside down. And
Hmm.
now the entire administration is like, oh no. And then even Trump himself is like, why are you all worried about these Epstein files? It's
Yeah.
dumb. Start thinking about it. And it's 100% distraction. It's like mind boggling that
Yeah.
makes me laugh because it's like MAGA should open their eyes and say, yep, you got hoodwinked. And you're in the middle of it and you still are believing because you're afraid to say you picked the wrong guy. But you did.
I will say I have seen a lot of people like I mean that is what I am very very disappointed in the handling of the of everything Epstein. Whoops. And I will say that some people are saying like, well, what the hell is going on here? That some are questioning, but the infighting between the Republican Party is so bad that if you do question President Trump or anybody, it's like
Exactly. Everybody's
you're
scared.
yeah, yeah,
Margaret Taylor Greene actually did for a day,
yeah,
but then the
yeah.
big distraction took over, so
Yeah.
she bailed on it. But she
Yeah.
went and posted. She printed out the letter, and she's like, "Those are
Mhm.
clearly the same signature." She posted it on the Capitol wall outside her office.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and then all of a sudden, lots of distraction came about. Everything from
Yeah.
us wanting to attack Venezuelan random fishing
Yeah.
boats and lots of
Yeah.
stuff. So now it's not talked about because nobody's really pushing the Epstein files anymore. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I was shocked. She's pretty wild. So for her to
She
come
is.
out and be like, "Okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is
Sometimes those
clearly
wild
weird."
cards are good, you know,
Yeah.
but
Right.
maybe she'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe.
All right. I have two very random questions that I've been holding on to for this conversation. And then I want to know if there's anything else that you want to like put out there. But have you watched Reservation Dogs?
Um, I do know that movie. That's an older film, right?
Um, no, that's Reservoir Dogs. Reservation
Uh,
Dogs is some kids on a reservation, and they
yeah.
they
Is
the
it
fry
the
bread's in it a lot.
Yeah.
Huh? So you're
Yeah,
so
that's the
I've
one I thought you was. Yeah,
okay.
that's the one I thought it was.
Okay. So I have been wanting to
That's
try
very
fry bread.
similar to my childhood.
Is
Yes.
it really? I've
Yes.
been wanting to try fry bread ever since I watched that show. I loved it. So then you're talking about it. I'm like,
In
dang,
fact,
where can I get some
growing
fry?
up, that was my accent. That's
Really?
what I sounded like.
Yeah.
So, that's the one
Yeah.
where they like steal a chip truck, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that was a fun
Yeah, that's
show.
very similar to my childhood. Very poor
Yeah.
town, no resources. You got nothing. Why not steal
Yeah.
the chip truck? But yeah, they called one of them's name was fried bread, right? That
I
was one
think
of the
so.
kids'
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Indian
Yeah.
fried bread is very close to what the doughboy or whatever I
Okay.
grew up selling. So very similar.
Yeah.
Now, our where I grew up, the fried bread wasn't a part of their culture, so we didn't.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of fried bread. I think that's more out of the Arizona area where it was similar to
Okay.
like a small fried bread, but
Yeah.
Navajo.
Yeah. Some
But
one day
it's
I'm gonna
good.
try
It's
it.
delicious. There's no question. If you haven't had a fried bread,
I don't think so. I mean,
how
like
is
we have
this
like
possible?
funnel cake in Iowa
That's
or
it's the
like
same thing.
churros.
Funnel cake is
Oh,
the same thing. A funnel
okay.
cake is a fried bread. Yep.
Okay.
Now we because a funnel cake is a doughboy is an elephant. They're all the same thing. Now
Okay. Okay.
the way you cook it is not near. I mean, it's we're not using the best materials now when you get a funnel
Right.
cake and a so,
Yeah.
so it might be a
Okay.
little healthier on the reservation, but it's the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
So you're taking
Yeah.
some dough, you're deep frying it, gets nice and puffy,
Yeah.
and tastes delicious because grease and oil and animal fat tastes
Yeah.
delicious.
Of course.
So
Yeah. Okay.
anything fried, it's like a fair food. It's made to be in the
Yeah.
fair
Yeah.
because they can deep fry frozen Twinkies, they can deep fry
Mhm.
some bread. So
Yeah. Yeah. My other question was, what were you calling the panda credits or the
oh, the panda bonds out of
Okay,
China.
is that because China loans their pandas to the zoos here in the in the United States? Or where did that come from? Like,
They're actually called panda bonds. So I wasn't being
okay.
derogatory in that.
No, no,
They're
I didn't
actually
think you were
called
being
panda. No,
derogatory. I didn't
I don't know
I
where the
didn't know
name
where the
comes
name
from.
came from.
Yeah,
So then
I
I'm like,
couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell
huh.
you. There must be some origin, but they're called panda bonds. They're private bonds that
Okay.
are placed and open, available to the Chinese public,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
through their private markets, and so
Uh-huh.
so you can raise
Yeah.
money. I mean, they're mostly used in China, and so for
Okay.
them to be available outside of
Hmm.
China was what was kind of weird. They made them available to
Yeah.
Russia and China have a long history of trying to work together.
Okay.
They also have a really long history of not liking each other. They have disputed borders,
Hmm. Yeah.
so they border each other and they've had disputes.
Yeah.
When they've tried, so the IMF, you're familiar with the IMF, the World Trade Organization, right? The World Bank.
Yeah.
These are all functions that they have. Russia and China tried to create their own between the two of them.
Okay.
The name slips me now, but they created a small fund. It's similar to like the US's Import Export Bank.
Mhm.
Import Export Bank helps facilitate exchanges by saying, okay, we're going to put the money in here. It's like a holding in an escrow. And then
Okay.
sometimes they'll even do a loan to help facilitate the exchange. So, because
Okay.
when you're doing international, you're stuck with two different, sometimes even more international courts and countries. And so you don't know if you'll get the money.
Yeah.
So China and Russia tried to do this. I think their original effort was 20 billion and it was like 2010. Not a dime was used. Not one
Oh.
dime. They have tried to do trade with each other in
Uh-huh.
so many different ways and it's just the normal trade is all that works. It's like
Yeah.
let's build a railway and I'll buy all the cheap oil I can from you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
China ships a lot of stuff to Europe. And so that's really their main sources right now. In fact, it's through Poland.
Okay.
Right, I'm right at the face where Poland stopped all of China's trains going through Belarus,
Mhm.
and so China has been trying to negotiate and putting a lot of pressure, and so Poland finally allowed the trains to come through. So now they go through Russia and they go through
Okay.
Belarus, into Europe on these trains. And so China's been trying to fight to say, like, these are off limits. Just
Yeah.
our stuff just goes through. Russia can't touch it. We want to continue trade with Europe.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
those are another hot item where the US could restrict things and say, oh, well, with sanctions, I think
Oh,
this needs to stop if you're not going to help. If
yeah.
Russia looks the other way for you, but is attacking everyone else, it's like, well, you need to put pressure. But there's no pressure
Yeah.
on China to do anything.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
was
So
learning something similar about the Paris Peace Accord in school,
mm,
about how China was pressing for the most regulations and most rules, but they didn't want any
they
sort
don't want to
of
follow it.
entity to hold them accountable. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. But all right, is there anything else that you wanted to discuss or shout out?
No, this has been great. I mean, I can
Yeah,
go on forever. So
I
yeah,
know.
no, I
I know.
appreciate. I normally
Yeah.
don't mix these conversations. So normally it's Twitter where I talk more about Ukraine. But
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I really appreciate you talking about it.
it's been fun. I appreciate it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to check out your app for sure,
Oh,
and just
please.
see what's around here. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
And there'll be
excited to see
lots
it
of
grow.
stuff we've actually created it's like Pokemon Go for local business where you can have little badges you can earn doing stuff for local businesses. But over the next year, we
Yeah,
have lots of new stuff coming out to, kind of assist in finding more local stuff.
yeah. And you said that's loca.us.
Yep. Look at
Okay.
us.
I want to thank you
Awesome.
again for coming on the show.
My pleasure.